This is the continued public hearing on the residences at Carriage Pines. Jill, you probably noticed that our chairman is missing, which means we're down to 3 members tonight. He hasn't missed a meeting yet, so everyone's allowed to miss one and they can still vote. So I gather you have no problem with
No, I have no problem. You adopted my own, so it's fine.
Right.
Yep. So,
Okay, do you want to take it away?
Sure. So basically where we're at is we had presented the revised concept plan to Larry Graham, which showed the modified, Richie, can we just put it up? Modified concept plan that you looked at last time, and then we actually improved the, oh yeah, that's perfect right up here. We improved the center island that was in the back, that was separating, creating sort of segmented parts of the...
Help me out.
Oh.
Are you tall enough, Jill?
Am I tall enough, I know? Segmented parts of the, Richie just can't, he's just not very good at this thing.
You hold the mic.
I'll hold the mic.
Katrina, is Larry coming tonight yet?
He said
I'm
he
better
would.
at that than you are? Not really.
In fact, he was gonna be here early because,
We're providing comic
we're not
relief.
meeting later.
So what we had done was we improved this island and actually did
This
submit,
it?
oh, this Mr. Graham, good.
There is a more detailed plan underneath that shows this area
Oh,
up
good.
close.
So we just wanted to, for purposes of this evening, the reason why we wanted to show you the entire sketch is because we wanted to review the conservation restriction
Right.
and the trails. Now, Ms. Larry has not had the opportunity to review that in detail, but what I had done was
Who
I
hasn't?
used, Ms. Larry,
Oh,
I
right.
had only sent it to her, and then I figured we could present and discuss it.
Right.
It was modeled, just so you'll know, it was modeled after the Turner Hill, but there's some modifications because clearly it's a totally different project. One was developed in
Well-
concert with one another, with the trails, and with raw land that was developed. So we can,
I looked at the Turner Hill restriction, and as I recall, the country club is not part of that.
it is.
It's different land, it seems like, because they don't mention golf.
I'll go through the whole thing with you. They do.
Okay.
And I'll explain it when we go through, because what you were looking at, there are 3 different sets of trail documents. That's why. It's really odd. So there's the public, you know how, we had gone through, I don't know if we did or not, there's a couple of different trail documents that are in it. One's the conservation restriction and trail, and one is just trails. I did the same exact thing you did. I read it, I'm like, this has nothing to do with the golf course, it's completely independent. But I think Mr. Graham will remember, there was some sort of a modification in 2004, and then when they completed the construction of the golf course with the whole country club, that's when they created that entire trail system and dedicated the entire parcel that is the golf course to conservation recreation, which is what you really want. And that's what that document does.
Oh.
So, and you actually, I'm 90% sure, not 100, and I apologize, that you actually even had the link for the recorded conservation restriction and public trail.
I copied them all. I don't think I gave you links.
I thought maybe you
You know
gave
what,
me a
I didn't even get to
page.
read any of them, so.
Well, do you have the actual Turner Hill document that you copied this off of?
Yeah, on my system, I didn't bring it.
No, well, do you have it back in your office?
Of course I do.
Could you email it
Of
to us?
course I will. I'll
Right.
email it to Katrina and then she
Right.
can send it out.
That'll be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So the reason
So
why I
just
want.
one more question, so that's been approved by the state and it's filed in the registry?
Oh,
and it-
oh, absolutely, EEOC, signed, done, so that it's a perpetual restriction, which the only way you can get that is when you submit it to the state and
Right.
they execute that.
Right.
And then obviously your Concom has to sign it, and then your Board of Selectmen have to accept it
Right.
in order for that to have that perpetual nature. And I'll go through that whole thing with you. But so the reason why I wanted to show this is because I wanted to be able to show you the open space and how we're actually gonna use that. So Rich purposely gave you the large plan version. And for purposes of right now, though, just to continue with the overview, here's the, here's just the plan that had been reviewed by Mr. Graham. If you click on it,
Do you want me to get an easel? I just realized.
you know what,
that
it's hard
doesn't work
because
that
for
well.
purposes of him, I think it's hard because it sticks out and then we block them too.
We don't need
It
this
would block
back.
you worse.
Too good.
I mean, if you don't mind,
good.
no,
That's
okay,
good.
but, so we're showing exactly that which Mr. Graham had reviewed. However, now, the reason why we have not come to you with a completed and updated technical review is because once this plan was approved in this format, then Rich Williams had to go back, take all of his drainage calculations, rerun them, redo topography, respond to some of Mr. Graham's comments with regard to engineering, and then deliver back, and we haven't had the opportunity to do that much work in this shorter period of time. So that's why we had asked originally to dedicate this evening to showing you the plan, and then showing you, Mr. Jaketh is going to be very happy about these, I think. I hope.
Now you just challenged.
I hope. No, there's obviously been communication via the architect and Mr. Jaketh. So what I'm going to do is, obviously, that's the entire, I'm sorry about this, that's the entire project with zoning. If you want it, I don't know if you want people to. So that is what the architectural plans, we had Huntress, say the name, Tom Minor. Hawk, thank you. Come and do all of the design for the architectural, and that, the landscape, and that I did send to the board. And what we also did, you know what we did, Mr. Jaketh, in order for you to see the renderings in front, we have the architectural, but what we did was we took off the trees that are proposed in some, and then put them on in some, because you can't see the buildings with them. And I'll show you what I mean.
That's the clubhouse.
These are, if you'll see, you can, that's not.
I recognize this one.
Yeah, this is the clubhouse.
Sorry.
But here are all the tree plans. I'm gonna show you all of the trees, and then you'll see why we can tell why we took them off, because you just simply cannot see the plan. So if we do this, then you can get a clearer image. So the purpose was to be able to show you better what the front was going to look like, and the only way to do that was to remove landscaping that will be put in, but in order to allow you to see.
Now, are these options, or is?
Yes, what we're going to offer, we will offer 4 different options for people. Now, when they come in, nobody's going to want the same exact floor print, same exact facade, so there'll be options.
So 4 options.
Exactly.
And
Of all
some
the-
of them are, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No,
some of
sure.
them are, you know,
I'm trying to.
can't be put in certain places because we have garage on the end
Right.
and a garage in the front, so you'll
So
see
they're
that some of those are 2 front-facing garage, and some are one side and one front.
And that's the clubhouse. So what we did was we took what we considered to be the 4 best options, and then did, as Mr. Williams just said, did some sides, did some front, did a couple of double fronts, and that's what you see in all of these particular renderings. And again, that would be included in your package. And then we did provide for you the landscape plan that also involved the clubhouse. And because you had asked to see, what are you going to do with the clubhouse? Our intent was to try and keep the clubhouse more of a residential appeal when you look at it, so when you drive up, it's not this big monstrosity, but rather more in keeping with a residential feel. And that would be the look of the clubhouse. You can see where we have, you can see where we have the deck, you can see where we
So
have.
what's the square footage of that?
The clubhouse it's the same footprint.
Same footprint?
It's basically just a new facade.
Right,
Okay.
and the roof.
And the
will be
roof
extended
extended
out.
over
The
the
roof
deck.
line, the only change to the, if you will, footprint is the extension of the
Okay.
overhang.
Right.
This is the exact same size, no increase.
So in terms of what activity is going on inside the clubhouse?
Exactly what does now, a pro shop, a small pro shop, there'll be a little snack bar. At the present time, there's no ability to sell alcoholic beverages, but I would assume that the owner of the golf course will eventually go to get an alcohol license, because the person who used to operate the restaurant did have one, but he does not in this
Yeah,
particular.
it would be a seasonal beer and wine license.
Mhm.
That's what they'd be looking for.
But it won't be a full-service restaurant by any stretch. It's going to be seasonal, open only when the golf course is open.
I like the porch idea.
And one other thing I might add is the landscape plans that are shown on the renderings, they match the landscape layout. So when you look at the
But you can
chart
tell that, yeah.
of landscape species, they are actually the species that are listed on the landscape plan are matched in the renderings.
Thank you.
So this is your landscape plan?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we tried to do was to give you a true vision of what it was going to look like, and we didn't put on, trees that are fully mature, 20 years old, we try to put on trees that are going to be there when
Well,
we plant, as
There's
well as.
also a separate entrance landscape
Oh,
plan.
yeah, I have that right
And,
there.
and as well as the landscape plan for the clubhouse and the typical.
Because what you had asked also was that we show the entrance and really kind of do up the entrance, make sure it had a really nice appeal when you first drove in for landscaping, and that's what we did. And as you can see, we incorporated the way we had changed the parking on the interior, so when you pick up your mail, you didn't have that bulge driveway, but you pulled off.
At our last meeting, I think you said you would be agreeable to bringing in your landscape architect. He's not here, right? At some
No,
point.
he's not here, he's down the South Shore.
Okay, so he can attend one of our meetings and basically present his plan. I think that'd be very helpful.
I suppose, it's very well detailed.
Well, it's usually the way it happens.
Right.
It's the
I mean,
landscape.
it really helps for the landscape architect to come in and explain his vision and what he's trying to accomplish and go through the various trees. I mean, I think that'll be a lot more useful to us than looking at the plan and trying to figure it out ourselves.
Yeah, we couldn't get him here tonight.
No, that's fine, but I would like to see him.
How are we gonna key these elevational drawings to the plan? To know where everything is
We
going?
can't, because we don't know. We have 4 basic designs, and as the customers come in, and as they choose their lot in their unit, that's how they be divided
You're
up.
not gonna build without,
I'm certainly not gonna put 5 of them identical next to each other.
Oh,
No,
no, the
but-
question is more, we will build a model, we'll build the first 2, we'll try to build what we think are gonna be the most popular to be able to show them for model purposes. Are you gonna build more than just 2 initially, spec home?
I'm not sure yet.
you gotta build some.
Oh, I fully intend on building some.
To show people that you're the great guy that you say you are.
I understand, I never said I was a great guy.
But that's what usually happens, is you build enough so that you can show an intent.
I'm fully aware of that, yep.
We are planning on building models, it's just that, you don't ever wanna build too many models, because then they kind of sit there if you build too many. So we do plan on doing it, getting it started, because you do have to begin to get people interested. Oh, look, there's a nice home in there, come in,
I
look,
think it
build.
will
We'll
move
look.
fairly fast, like down Route 1, they're on the second group of buildings down at wherever that golf course is in Ipswich there. I guess it's.
Ipswich, that's my
Topsfield.
client, actually, I'm
Topsfield.
doing that subdivision, and we constructed the first 2 and sold, and then built the second building based on reservations for what people wanted, and then constructed like one of the buildings. So what ended up happening was we got reservations, we have reservations for 3 of the buildings, and 4 are already sold. But basically, you're not even for financing purposes, a bank never entitles you to build more than 2 specs at a time, typically in a division like this, until you have movement. So we wouldn't be able to, our bank loans would never allow us to go too far, and that's exactly what happened with New Meadows. But you're right, they built those.
And the same down in Topsfield at the Danvers line of
Oh,
Old
absolutely.
English.
We absolutely plan on building, a model, a couple model units, so we're gonna develop at minimum 1 building that, first, we will.
So what we need is to be able to have, if people select the same plan all the way through, we've got to have variations on the exterior of that same plan.
Well, the good thing is that the way these units are designed, that you can change the floor
Change the
plans.
dormer or change something,
Right.
yeah.
So each unit could almost have a different floor plan. These 2 units could be the same looking, are these the same ones now? These 2 units could essentially have the same floor plan, and that one as well. So the floor plans can be similar based on, but the elevations would be different. Some people like the elevation of one, say Unit A, they like the elevation of Unit A and the floor plan, but they don't like the elevation of B, so we can switch those front elevations around with the floor plans. They basically just put a new face on the same floor plan.
We don't
We have the options for
We have a version with side garages here?
Yep.
Yes.
Here.
You
Here's
have
the
version
side
of two,
garage,
of a
here's the
left and a
side
right.
garage.
Yep, okay.
And there's one more, oh, there's 2 of them, I have in my hands.
And the other thing too is a lot of these can be interchangeable. This particular one could have a side garage as well.
Yeah.
So someone might like this space and say, well, we just don't like the garage doors in the front. Well, we picked a lot that allows a side garage, and we just move these garage doors to the side and then.
And I think the garage doors should be, I know these are just renderings,
Yeah.
and they're very, I wouldn't have done them as well as this because I like to keep it loosey-goosey till a certain stage, you know, but there's a lot of computer stuff in here. I see the same cloud in a number of pictures, so. But the garage doors, some of them are more like designer carriage types and that sort of thing, and
There's only one, actually.
so that would be a better route to go, a variety of those carriage type doors.
Well, we want to mix it up so they don't all look the
I'm
same.
not thinking that you should have plain doors. And some of these,
Yeah, none of them are plain.
It
this
shows
one
the
looks pretty plain.
difference. It shows the difference between the two.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the windows.
But you can, I mean, you can have the square windows, but
I mean, I think honestly with the garage doors, people are gonna change those, that will. I think they'll probably elect to do what they want to do when they come in, just like they will with a front door. I don't know that we can,
no, you should have a kit of parts that they can choose.
oh, well, we definitely will try to do
Good.
that. But if it's gonna be, but I have to be honest, if it's gonna mean selling a unit or not selling a unit because they want that versus that, or they prefer a more plain, door in this style,
You know, it's to each his own. I mean, you
I don't
know,
think you can.
some people might like the plain door, some people might like the carriage style door. I mean, we can't really, govern it that tight where we're saying, well, this is all you can
A lot
have.
of
I don't
developers
believe in
do.
that.
I mean, I'm
I don't
sure
believe in that. That's not the way I run my
Caldwell
business.
Farms does it,
Congratulations to Caldwell Farms, but
and we may.
I want people to have somewhat of an option. I don't want them to be locked in to what this board dictates that they can and can't have. I have to have some flexibility for my customers. I mean, that's how it is.
I mean, they will have, this particular style, obviously.
I understand, you're trying to help and you're trying to do the right thing, but I've spent a lot of money, I've worked very hard, and a lot of these ideas are my ideas because I like them. And I think I know what's gonna sell and I know what people like. You have an opinion, just like everybody else in this room, and I understand that, but we've done a very good job with these designs and I'm very pleased with them.
That's your opinion.
It is.
But, so, to continue, so what we do plan on doing is, when you look at the actual layouts of the units themselves, some of them are gonna be dictated by virtue of where they're located and how you're going to do it and how you're gonna access. So clearly, if somebody wanted to buy this unit and wanted a side entrance garage, you can't buy here with a side entrance garage. You could here. So we could manipulate that and put a side here if they really wanted. It might be a little close, but there's certain things you can do. But so we can't necessarily key in a design for every single footprint. I mean, that's just not. It'll be almost too planned a development that won't allow for any changes. And I don't know how that works in today's day and age. I just don't. I don't think it works because they still will have some flexibility going down the design route. But notwithstanding that, it's clear though, and I understand you want to talk to the landscape architect, and we can in fact do that. But what you see before you is a pretty well thought out plan. I mean, he did provide for the walking trails through the general open space. We actually demonstrated where the stormwater facilities were going to go. And then what Mr. DiGiorgio would like to do with the storm, I tried to cut everything out and paint it over, I couldn't. He would like to make more of a water feature in one of the.
The back one, right, Richie?
Yeah.
Yep.
So what they want to do is put a water feature so that you have continuously moving water in the front pond, so that you'd have, I mean, I know it's an ugly picture because I have all this, but it would be something like that in that particular front basin. We're not going to be able to see this one.
I'm sorry, which one are you talking
The
about?
front, the very
front one.
front one, right there.
That one will always have water in it.
That's the deeper.
That's the
okay.
deeper of the ponds, so it'll always have water, so if you keep
Do
it
you have a
running.
fountain in that photograph?
Yes, can you see it?
Are you talking about a fountain here?
Yes.
Oh,
So basically it'll keep the water moving.
I like the idea, not enamored by the
No, I know.
boringness of the fountain.
I'm not enamored by it either.
I mean, again,
I mean,
It'd
this
be
is-
great at some restaurant maybe.
It seems sort of out of place to me.
Yeah, it's sort of static, but some water feature there probably would be good, and it might keep the water cleaner, wouldn't it, Rich?
Yep.
yeah, by keeping it moving, it does, because obviously with filtration, people come out and under and through. So we're
Will there
proposing
be water there,
always.
always?
In that the front basin, there'll always be water.
Yeah, we're gonna dig it down deep enough so it's into the groundwater table.
Because a lot of these basins are designed by, you know, you have to design them for such, and they never fill up.
Yeah, but this is, you're intending to go into the,
Yeah.
Groundwater.
They're down in the water table?
Yeah.
Okay.
And how deep?
Rich, what's the, do you know what the,
That pond is about 5 feet deep, I think, in the design, but if we need to go deeper in the middle to keep water in it, that's what we'll do.
Okay, I'm just thinking about children and, I mean, you know, if they play there, I mean, God forbid you wouldn't want a child to wander there and drown.
It's not as deep as the ponds in the back.
You know, we have all the ponds at the back of the course that are a lot deeper as well.
You know, it gets,
This is
it's like kids in wood stoves, you know, you could have 3 inches of water there and somebody could drown in it, so.
Yeah,
I think you-
especially like right out at the street. But that's my opinion.
Kids will be gonna throw rocks in it, maybe.
I mean, the
Can't-
most common drownings, I think, are knee deep. You have them typically when it's shallower, but people aren't as cautious.
I'd be more worried about somebody putting a wading pool out in their backyard than,
That's,
But I just wanted to bring that up because I think, you know, God forbid, but things happen. You can be the most dedicated parent and, you know, you shift your eyes and whatever. So just, I just wanted to bring it up so everyone's aware of it.
well, we understand, absolutely. Again, we understand. Okay, so that was the whole issue with regard to the landscape, or the presentation with regard to landscaping. So did they get a chance, they didn't get a chance to look at the landscape plans we sent out? No? Okay.
no, I like the common, just wishing there was a way to squeeze something.
Yeah, the things I
Get a little bit bigger
With the
break
trees.
in here,
I
Rich.
emailed it out to them, I'm not sure.
5
which
more
of them
feet.
looked at it on the computer. But I don't think they printed out the thing.
Wondering if there's a way right in there
We
to,
can by taking and having fewer garages on the end,
I don't wanna do that.
okay? I think, you know,
What are you
that's the
trying
thing.
to, what are you trying to keep for a minimum between 2 residences?
Well, between driveways, we want to have enough space to vegetate.
Yeah,
And if we push it any closer, we're not going to have that space.
We didn't want to have 2 driveways merging and then all that asphalt.
And
because there's a good natural feeling right through the middle here.
I think we can accomplish that with landscaping. I think, you know, it's going to be pretty dense in here, and it's going to be dense in here, and that will provide a break. I think, you know, looking at it, and I think a good example is if you drive through Ipswich Country Club. The vegetation has come in, and you can't see from house to house like you could when they first built it. When they first built it, you could see from house to house, but if you drive in there now, the houses are 15 feet apart, and you can't see.
They're that close?
There are, not every house, but there are some
of the
houses
new
there.
stuff, that right when you're going to, where's Ipswich Country Club? Turner Hill, or is that?
No.
Oh, okay, I know,
Oh, one.
yeah. They don't allow me in there.
I had to sneak in.
Oh. But Turner Hill, they've got a problem when you come up to the Great Hall there. This house is just not landscaped very well at all. I know some of the earlier ones have started to grow in, but I think you're right, though, if you get a little bit more density through, like you're walking through a little grove of trees here, that
Well, those are all trees, they aren't shrubs.
add
so-
a couple more in there that would reinforce this connection.
Well, if you, on that particular unit, 6. I know we've been asking for side entry garages, but if you made that a front entry, would that give you more space to
Yeah.
create that effect you're talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to be...
It does, I'll just say that you know, you'd be switching this to here, you'll have landscaping in here that's gonna shield that home, whether it's here or here, I think it provides the same benefit, so it might even be better to have it on the side, because that's a narrower driveway than if it were in the
I'm
front.
just trying to get more of a feeling of connection
Yeah.
through there. Take a look at it, that's all.
Hang on, but you asked for side garages.
Oh, I know it.
No,
We
that's
gave
true.
you side garages, and now you want
Don't
to change
get-
them again.
No, you got side garages.
Well, there's not that many.
Okay.
There's not.
I mean, we can take that out, that's an easy
No,
fix, so.
I'm not saying take it out, but just look at, maybe add a few more trees in here.
4, 5, 6, 7. There's only 8 side garages.
I really don't want to take out any more side garages, but
All right, so I think, personally, I think that with landscaping, we can provide that, and there'll be a path,
add a little more.
and there'll be some separation between this person's residence and the path with vegetation,
Yeah,
so
what you're
that,
trying to create is a separate
um,
feeling, so that you have this
See that
path that you walk down.
Which path? Is it go with that path?
this path here,
Oh, no. Oh.
it's a proposed path.
I think we know what you mean, so you create almost a separateness with regard to the path, so people when they walk down don't feel like they're in somebody's backyard.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
I
that's
think
what
that's
he was trying to do, but what we can try and do is add like a few more, this is killing me, add a few more trees coming down in here, and then potentially even do something here, so that we create.
Now you can open up down there.
We can, no, that's, I mean, there's not much difference between this and this. I mean, in my opinion.
I'm trying to get connection there, and if you can't widen this space with the side garage, I think Richard's point is well taken, to add a little, 2 or 3 more trees in there, so you're walking through.
Where would you
12
put
trees.
them though? On
One
here?
here, one here,
And that's it? Okay. I thought you were trying
maybe
to
a
also.
little one here, so that this has got more of the feel of connection through here.
Mhm.
That makes the development seem like 2 halves instead of the thirds that we were talking about before. So,
Yeah, we can see about putting a couple more, could be a tree.
because some open land in here is good.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a lot of.
Well, I know, I mean, I know we've been asking for side garages, but we don't want to be, you know, dogmatic about it. It does seem to me to make sense.
Well, he's not gonna be
And-
dogmatic, because if somebody wants a side garage where you can give it to them, you're gonna give it to them, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I'm just saying, if you turn that side garage into a front garage, then it does give you more space there to create the effect that you're talking about.
Well, the other,
Compromising and letting them do it with trees.
Right, and I guess also, the other thing is we need to create a static concept plan with regard to the homes. It is unbelievably difficult for the landscape architect, and it's becoming very expensive. If we keep changing, we pay every time, which I know is not, isn't supposed to be one of the criteria, but at the same
It's
time.
not
we-
one of the criteria.
But it has to be a responsibility of the board to recognize that we need some sort of a place to be able to develop a concept. You can't develop a concept when the basic premise, which is the underlying home sites, change. That's why we're just trying to figure out if we keep the side garage, which I think we can do and modify them, fine, but we're trying to at least stabilize the homes and those approaches so that we can develop the best landscaping plan we have. Because when you keep having moving pieces, you can't do it. It's just, you can't, you have to have a basic
Well,
premise from which to
Let's
proceed
go
from.
back a step. The landscape architect should have been on board right from the beginning, and the architect should have been right on board. from
But they
the
were,
They have.
they have
You
been.
know, but they have not been to a meeting, and they are not participating in the discussion. And that makes it work better.
The architect
And
was
now
here.
you're telling
He
us
took
that-
your advice, and this is, and the result.
But he has not been here. He's been here once, that's it. And he should be here at the
Because he's
meeting.
getting the feedback, and we're giving it to him, and he's making the changes that you've asked.
I
And
disagree
every
with
time
you.
we go back, we take your recommendations, and we implement it. We've done everything that you have asked thus far.
We couldn't get the landscape architect to come tonight, and we can't always coordinate the schedule, we
Well,
can't.
Well, hopefully you can come at the next meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we would like that as well. It's just that, again, we want him, we want feedback, and we'll have him, process that and come back and then be able to respond. But it isn't really fair to say we haven't brought them into the process. We may not have been able to bring them here every time, but we really have been working with them every step of the way and have been trying to address all of the board's concerns and never have ignored the board's concerns, obviously. We really haven't. And we're not trying to do that. The fact that somebody didn't show up tonight is not in any way intended to mean that. It's more, we couldn't get him to come. But I think you can see there was a lot of work and a lot of.
Well, I was going to ask that the architect comes, but I have a bigger problem with this Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, Plan D for houses, which we will never know until construction what it's going to be. So is it going to be good or bad?
Well, we know what the options are, all right?
Yeah.
I mean, none of them are, I don't think you look at them and say that they're,
And it's clear that they.
that one is awful or
Well,
another's great. I
the
mean,
problem is the repetitiveness and making sure that there's a palette that is flexible enough to have different dormers and not be able to pick up on, that's Plan A again, Plan A again, throughout the development. The whole idea is to get some flexibility, much like the housing in any of the streets around here that are single family.
I know, but you have no control over that. I mean, they could do that.
We, in our past development, we've had that control over it.
No.
So residential subdivision, traditional?
No.
Oh.
In-
So what would you like to see, David?
I don't know. I mean, he's got a whole viewpoint that is different than what I've ever seen on facades in this catalog, not even a catalog picking. If somebody wants plain doors, they're gonna get plain doors. And if somebody wants carriage doors, they're gonna get carriage doors. Now, how is that gonna look?
Right there, the pictures are right there.
These are.
But there may be other choices that you allow, because you're saying that they can pick and choose from.
Yeah, there's a lot of different types of garage doors. Some are better than others. But I think you're contradicting yourself. You don't want it to be cookie cut, but you also want it to be the same.
No,
So-
I'm not contradicting. I'm saying that they should be out of a palette that is not gonna let somebody pick something that is,
He says you should have a catalog. where you have
I'm fully
choices.
aware of what he's saying. I
That is-
understand.
that
But
is a
I
poor
think
choice.
there's another issue here that you're not telling me. I'd like to know what the problem is. And you're not
I'm
really telling me
scared-
the problem.
No,
You're kinda
I'm just
beating around
saying
the
that
bush.
even in your best interest is to have a palette of doors that you can pick from and be able to say to the possible buyer, this is what we have for choices.
Yeah, there'll be a showroom set up inside the model unit. You'll have your different door styles, you have your different stones, your different sidings. They'll have different options to choose from. Different color patterns, that's the way it's done. We have a
But you
showroom,
don't
we
want-
have different faucets, we have different sinks, we have different cabinets.
That's fine,
We have
I
different
don't
flooring,
care.
we have everything. And the same for the outside. There'll be a list of options that they get to use.
How many kinds
They'll
of-
mirror that.
How many kinds of stones are you gonna pick?
Not sure right now. There might be 4, there might be 6. But, you're expecting me to come in here with a full blown out build out when we don't even have, the basics done. We're trying to get the basics by. If we get by the basics, we get the site development all laid out, the landscape plan, then we get into the paint colors, the roof colors, all that stuff. That's the way the project's dealt. You can't do a full-blown design here, have engineers, architects, interior designers, exterior designers, do all this work, when every time we come to this meeting, you're changing it. And we've done everything that you have asked, everything. There
Well,
hasn't been any argument from you.
This conversation is not really productive.
I understand it, but-
You've requested changes, but the fact is you came with a pretty crummy plan, and it's taken a lot of evolution to get to this.
Well,
to the point where-
I disagree with you,
Well,
and
well,
I
we-
take
well,
offense
well,
to
we
that
can-
comment,
we can
because it
disagree
wasn't
with
a
each
crummy
other.
plan, and you just insulted my engineer as well, but, not for nothing.
Some engineer's laughing. so-
Yeah, I understand that, but you can't sit there and say we came in here with a crummy plan. That's your opinion.
Well,
Okay, so again, you're right, it is non-productive here. I'm just trying to get to the bottom line of what your issues are, because every time we come here with all these plans, it's not enough, it doesn't seem to be enough. There's always something wrong, there's something that you don't like, and you're really not telling us what the issue is here.
I think David is telling you that he's afraid of the development being repetitive. I think that's what the issue is.
Well,
Or the choices and the things that you're gonna propose that we have no knowledge about and what it's gonna look like in the end, just for the sake of a sale. And I agree, you've gotta sell them, but in the past, the developments that I've only been involved in one development,
which one was that? Is that the one off of 133?
no.
The
It's on
55 and older?
Main Street and it
It hasn't been
isn't.
built yet.
But the exteriors and where every garage door and what it is going to be is shown, and it's going to be built that way.
Which project is that?
Off of Main Street? It's not
Doesn't-
built.
doesn't-
Are they gonna build it?
Well,
You don't know.
it's permitted.
It's been permitted for a while, hasn't it? That's the
Yeah.
25 unit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone just put it.
We've spent a lot of money on marketing analysis on these products, okay? So, and our marketing team is telling us what sells, what doesn't sell, and I take their advice, strongly take their advice, because they know what sells.
But you also have personal experience.
I
doing this too.
understand that. So that's why we
I've done-
put together this package and
And so
these
am I.
plans.
I've done 50 or 100 projects that are condominium type projects where there, are multiples of the same building throughout the site. Never once have I been asked to pick a garage door. Now, I'm not saying that it's out of the that it's impossible to do, but it's much more detailed than I've ever been asked for, so it is a little bit unusual.
Can I interject?
Surely.
It seems to me that maybe at this point, or maybe at any point in this project, in trying to dictate, whether it's a carriage door or a plain door, I don't necessarily agree with you in this. I mean, I don't think you can dictate that throughout this whole development. And further, I don't think if these guys give their prospective buyers 2 or 3 choices, that everybody's gonna say, I want door number 1, and I want door number 1, and I want door number 1, and we're gonna get, the plane that you're concerned about. Because I think everybody has different ideas. I think if you were concerned about anything, it might be a concern about having too many different ideas, so it looks like Disney World as you go through there.
That's exactly where I'm coming from, Larry. I mean, if there's 3 doors that are out of your palette that you want to use, and then I get scared when you have 4 kinds of stone in a country road in Raleigh. Why isn't it all the same stone?
Well, I don't know. Again, I don't think you want to make everything the same, but I think 3 doors or 4 doors as options on
But he
36 units are.
He should choose them.
So if I said I will
Well,
pick 3
yeah.
styles of doors for garage doors, would that satisfy you? That if I limit it to a carriage door and, I'll come in with pictures of 2 other types of doors and say, okay, these are the 3 door styles that we can use? I mean, if that's.
Well,
what-
talk to your architect and see what
Well,
he thinks.
No, I don't need to talk to my architect. If that's what's gonna satisfy your concern of
I think the
Then-
items
then
of
that's what I'll
choice,
do.
the items of choice, you want a good project, we want a good project. So that I didn't use the word Disneyland, but none of us I don't think you want Disneyland up there either.
But you have to remember too, we are giving architectural renderings, so Disneyland really won't happen, because you're not gonna have huge variant in actual style. So you do have an element of control with regard to what the renderings are, because we're showing you what the front render is gonna be. We can only offer so many styles, so we're only gonna offer these styles. I mean, there will be some people who wanna come in and express themselves maybe, and it's something.
Ipswich Country Club, every time anybody builds here, it has to go through a design committee.
It does, but that's a little bit different.
That's an internal design.
That's an
committee.
internal design committee and, you know,
They've done a pretty good job.
$800,000, $900,000 homes.
Yeah, and then they're $800,000-$900,000 homes.
Correct.
Well, there's a big difference.
And
Well,
part of that is that individuals built their own homes there. And the developer is gonna be the builder. It won't be people coming in and building their own house.
No, so I guess my point was, is more, we're definitely gonna give you a palette, if you will. I mean, there are gonna be some individualized choices, and the reason for that is to provide for differentiation among each unit. You want difference. I mean, you know, I don't know, I drive through some of these subdivisions, and I have to tell you, every time I turn around, it's the standard, you know, front door center, open colonial with 2 on top, 2 on bottom. I mean, it's like, they're all the same. I mean, literally 90% of the time in this, you get all the same. We're trying not to do that. We want to differentiate
understand.
ourselves. But at the same time,
Well-
yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe we should just move on, and it strikes me that this is the kind of detail you would look at, if at all, at maybe the end of the project, rather than smack in the middle of it.
Well, I will say one thing about moving the driveway. This is your one good point for the night. I have 2 others that I'm still concerned with.
Glad I have one.
The side driveway might be better, might be better for people coming out of their driveways, because you might have, you know, you're back to back right here. So the side driveway is better, probably for turning around or getting out of the driveway for people coming in. That's my opinion. But the other 2 things is water and children. That's my big
Well,
thing.
and this is one of my big issues with the access on the main course, because it's loaded with water. And this was my argument, you know, the last meeting. I was very concerned about people falling into the ponds. I mean, they're more likely to wander off and go into the ponds down on the course than they are to go here.
But, no, because if the people are living here and they have younger children, they won't tend to be.
I know,
Anyway,
you're right, it's
so-
close by, but you know what,
Okay,
the kids are gonna
I
kinda
don't want
drift.
any child to get hurt.
Neither do I.
That's my-
but
and-
you have
and
to
then
have the
other
water
thing-
there, right, Rich? You have to have the retention ponds there.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're not
We
gonna
go
do
through
it.
this argument on every subdivision.
Right, but I'm
I
just
don't,
making
I can't
it
recall ever,
really
um,
clear that I am not in favor of having something attractive like that to attract a child. I just want you to know that it's a child's life or a person's life. Say they're drunk and they're stumbling, you know what I mean? Just having-
Regardless if we put a feature or not, if we take the feature out, we're still gonna have water. There's nothing,
But your point
We
is you
need a
don't want
place to
something
put
to
the
be an
water.
attractive
You're
nuisance.
the lawyer,
So-
you know that, you know, things happen.
Honestly, you're more likely to drown, the statistics
bathtub,
show,
right.
in your bathtub with something under your knee for level. So but at the same time, look, we don't have to put it, we heard that you wanted us to try and make the front more appealing, more
Right.
relaxing, so we were adding a water feature, because nobody likes anything better than hearing the flow of water. It's very calming, so that's why we did
Nice,
it.
but
We definitely don't have to, we'll pull it out. There's no need for us to do it. We were doing it as an accommodation, thinking the board would prefer it.
I don't think it fits the area of the
Right,
suburban
country
neighborhood.
road.
I really don't, on a country road. Okay, we'll take...
You're not married to this. That's why
I
we
just can't
did
get rid
it,
of the water, that's the only thing.
but they're not
I don't
at
have a choice.
Yeah, so then
I don't think you can
defer
do
to
that.
Larry.
All right,
on
we'll-
that.
We'll take questions from residents and abutters. Sir, you have a question? You could identify yourself?
And 257 Dodge. The water fountain, if you drive by Groveland, there's stagnant water there, right on the road. Yeah, I'm trying to think of Haverhill Street. It's so stagnant, the 3 houses around, people abandoned them. So I think
Abandoned the houses?
abandoned. If you drive by there, you'll see there's a white house, 2-story. People moved out. The fountain keeps the water circulating, and you don't get the stagnant smell. So that's something to consider.
Rich, there's a way to get that moving without making a water feature, I would presume.
but again, there's not gonna, we're gonna eliminate the water feature. There's gonna be water at certain times, like any detention basin that we have in every subdivision virtually across this part of the North Shore. And it will not have water every second of every day. We won't cut down into the table sufficiently to always retain the water, but there will be water for a majority of the time, right? So it won't, it's not like, you know, when you see those ponds where they literally keep them filled at all points, we won't keep them filled. I mean, but
Well,
it's,
that's
What-
a question
what do you
Richie
think
needs to
it-
but that's
answer.
why I don't, Richie, are we gonna, you just said we would dig down till we hit groundwater. Right now, it's proposed at 4 feet.
There will be water in that pond at certain times of the year and after
Right.
storms. Exactly how often, I can't answer the question, but you need to plan on there being water in that.
Right, but it's not as if it's a pool with depth at all points, is it? I don't know.
There will be water in it to certain depths at certain times.
Right.
There won't be water in there all the time.
Right.
That's my
But
point.
this is not unusual. It happens
All the time.
in every subdivision except where
Storm.
there is no stormwater management or it's underground, which is unusual for both. There are detention basins and it's not out of the ordinary.
But if you had a stagnant water situation, as the gentleman back there brought up, there's ways to solve the stagnant water thing, because,
Without a fountain.
right, you can get the water to move and churn.
But is it even necessary in the field?
Yeah, I'm
you
not
don't-
sure
you may
what the
not
concern
have-
is because we'll have stormwater going into it. So there'll be a turnover, new water coming in.
But if you had a problem, you know how to solve it,
Absolutely, yeah.
because it's gonna affect your residents more than anybody else.
Well, the point is too, there'll be a homeowners association, so whenever there's sort of a detriment in that regard, they're going to fix it.
Yeah.
It's common area, it has to be fixed, and people are entitled to have it fixed.
Hammerhead.
Anyone else?
Good.
I just wanted, this is our first meeting, but what was the, do you guys know what the price point was gonna be on these houses?
I'm sorry, could you identify yourself?
Jesse
Name
Guy,
and address, please.
125 Daniels.
The price points are gonna be in the high 3s to low to mid 4s.
And how many square foot is that, gentlemen?
1,875 to 22, 23.
So they're not that big a unit.
No, the small unit. That's our market analysis shows that that's the range that people want to be in today. They don't want, they like the smaller units, affordable, and you don't need more than 2,000 square feet to live.
But this isn't limited to 55 and over.
No.
But you're hoping because of the size of the units that you'll get.
Well, surely you'll attract some people that, are 55 and older, but you're also going to attract first-time home buyers. You're going to, two-income family couples that are just starting out. It's a great start.
I think that's a wise move.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Leah Lyons, 200 Dodge Road. How long is the project going to take to build, approximately?
Well, it's economy driven. We're hoping that it's going to be a 4-year project maximum.
And this retention pond, where on the property is it?
Up front.
Up front.
Up front by the road?
You can see it, the green area closest to the road is what they're talking about.
And that's the
Joe
only
pointed
place
out
to
to-
put that?
Right here.
What's
Yes,
that?
it is.
Is that the only place to put that?
It's the preferred location for us, yes.
Is that because of the lay of the land?
That's
Excuse me
correct,
again.
yeah.
That flood's been drained.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to go through the trail easement conservation? Josh?
Well, I thought, could you briefly go through the concept plan and just point out things that have been changed from the last time we looked at it?
Sure. I forget, I wasn't here last time, I was on vacation, but we had changed all the units to duplex units
Right.
and added a T-type turnaround at the end, which was one of the requests to look at that. We had provided options of a circular turnaround with an island in it or the T-type, and the T-type was selected as the preferred option, so that was added. We also because we had parking in the circle, we've taken the parking that was there and put it near the edge of the road, and added parking here.
And took it out of the green.
Took it out of the green where we had it prior. So this green got added and enlarged from the original concept of the green. We added a trail system through that connects to a trail that goes out to the front and then out to the end of the road near the Hammerhead turnaround.
I see, I'm sorry, you have a common driveway now, right?
We reduced. Yes, we added a common.
One
driveway.
common driveway at the end of that.
That's just one, okay.
That's one, yes.
Richie, I think we reduced the width of the road and the
That's
around
right.
the common.
This turned into a one-way, and we reduced the width of that, which allowed us to have some more area.
So what's the width now?
16 feet. And we added some, and I forget exactly which units, but we added some more side load garages. I think there might have been 5 before, now there are 8.
This, I don't know if you want to refer to this markup plan. Rich, do you have yours?
I'm not sure.
It might help the board to see where that. There's this garage right there, that side loaded. This
That-
one.
Got side loaded, we changed, actually we didn't change that.
This one was side loaded, but you would see it coming in, so it was more looking right in your face. So we went to the front on unit number 30, or unit number 1, Rich.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
No,
Right.
those are improvements, I
Yeah,
think.
Rich, the thing that doesn't show is, and it shows on this plan, is where that path goes across through that parking in the middle of the plan there. There's a finger
Yeah, right.
coming out.
Yeah, what we did is made that the handicap space, so that will be striped.
Can you make that an extension of the path and then just push over the 5 feet?
Well, you could, but then you have to add pavement, I think it's,
I'm trying to make the walkway look like it connects, in other words, breaking that parking into two units, so the walkway looks like it
crosses the street.
crosses the street. Like a
It
finger,
does.
like a finger coming up.
Oh, it does, but it's all done by paint strip.
okay, if I bring the
I'd
finger
rather-
out, then I have to do ramps. I think, I know what you're saying, but it requires more impervious area, and I think defeats, we would end up, to keep the same number of parking spaces, we'd spread this out
I don't
and
want to do that.
eliminate areas that might be available for landscaping. And we need to have that loading area anyways.
Okay.
You gotta have a van space, it has to be 8 and 8 at that location, so we can,
Maybe some imaginative striping.
I think we could do the striping, leave the middle of the striping open where the walkway is and just stripe
Part-
adjacent to it.
Okay.
And then it would appear more like a walk coming out to the street.
Indicate the connection.
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So,
You understand what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
And so you're out of the ledge on the northern side of
On
the
the
property?
northern side,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we pulled it away.
Right.
We still have the ledge to deal with.
in
No,
In here.
right down there, yeah.
Mhm.
But that's like 1,000.
That's, yeah, it's very far away from everybody.
Right.
Rich, why do you have to have a handicap space in this development?
If you provide parking, you have to provide, if you're gonna have guest parking,
Yeah.
you have to provide,
5%.
no, it's up
Well,
to
it's up
25.
spaces.
You need one space.
And
for
how many
everything.
spaces do we have now? 28?
2. Oh, we have, yeah, because we have
12.
spaces.
Oh, we
here.
got, yeah, down there.
One for every
So-
25.
Oh,
We
The
do have to
Architectural Access
provide,
Board requires it.
so we have 2, we have one at the mailbox
Okay,
and one here.
because you're over 25.
That's right.
That's
And
next
it's
range.
not gonna work.
What's that?
what?
And it's not gonna work.
What's not gonna work?
the handicap spaces.
Not many of them do, but.
Right.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you have a
When you need
handicap
the
guest come over, you best make space for them in the driveway.
They're just not gonna find it.
If you're a good
It's
host.
gonna be too far away from where they wanna be or something like that. I mean, when we plan them at restaurant doors and stuff like that, they're twofold. It opens up the whole front of the restaurant because you don't have handicapped people at all times,
Well, there's one at the mailbox, which
makes sense.
makes sense. And for the rest of it, like I said, if you have a handicapped guest coming over, you'll make space for them to park in the driveway.
Right.
If you're a good host.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions from, yes, sir?
John Lyons, 200 Dodge. I have a question about the whole schedule. The way I understand it, you're gonna build a couple of models first, and then sell them and take reservations and build as you go?
Yes, what our intent is, once we start construction, the first thing we will do is take down the restaurant and function facility and start all our major site work. Simultaneously, we plan on building the model units and having the model units built.
Do you have those picked?
Um,
Which ones are gonna be?
We're, out of the four, we're not sure which.
No, on the map on the wall.
Yes, it'll be the first couple buildings on the
So
right-hand side.
near the
Richie.
clubhouse.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, right there on the right-hand side. It might be the first two on left and right, we're not quite sure, but it's gonna be the first couple as you come in. And we plan on getting all that section of work done as we're constructing the road at the same time.
All right, and then you're gonna continue as you take reservations for two, you're gonna build another duplex.
That's
Is that
correct.
kind of the way
Yeah,
it's
as the
gonna go?
reservations come in, we're gonna build.
And how would this be permitted? Would you go ahead and build 3 foundations? And then wait for the reservation to build the structure?
Yeah,
Will you-
we're not sure. We will build some on spec,
Yeah.
and we'll also build them per order. Because if we start just building them, like we said earlier, some footprints might change
Mhm.
depending on what
Well,
lot
my
people
concern
want.
is having like, you build 3 foundations, your foundation guy, the weather's nice, things are rolling along, he's looking for work, you say build these next 3. And then you don't sell those 6 units for a year. So we're looking at a foundation that's there.
No.
And nothing on
No,
top
we
of
will not do that. If we put a foundation in on it, the building will be.
And would that be permitted that way? That it's going to be built one duplex at a time? Or is it gonna be permitted for one complete development and they have free reign to do whatever? I mean, and like for the, say 4 years it's gonna take, hopefully not that long. But let's just say it takes 4 years. Where would the site trailer sit? And is that gonna be in the same place for 4 years?
Well, the model units are actually the sales office.
So you're not gonna have a site trailer?
There'll be a site trailer there until those units are complete. Once the model units are complete, then that's.
So your super's gonna work out of a model unit?
My super will work out of one of the buildings.
Okay.
Now, the super doesn't need anything really but a desk and a telephone. We can put him in the basement.
So as soon as the first unit's done, the site trailer goes away and he's gonna work out of a building.
The site trailer will go away and he'll work out of a building, but you gotta keep in mind, there's still gonna be a lot of equipment there.
That's my next question, is when you're waiting over these 4 years, where's all this equipment gonna be stored? You're gonna pull this equipment out and then bring it back in to dig a foundation and build
No,
another
the
unit?
equipment, the equipment will stay on site because
Right,
it's,
so-
it's gonna, there'll always be some type of work going on
Okay,
consistently.
so if there is a lull between one unit to the next and one building to the next, and this equipment sits for 4 years, is it gonna be spread out across the development? Is there gonna be a restriction that when it's not used, it's,
Well,
I don't mean use daily, at night you put it away. I mean, if you're not gonna use it for a week, is,
It depends
I was gonna say,
on what stage you're at.
really
If,
I mean, it's not a ridiculous question, I mean,
No, it's
No,
not.
it's just very difficult.
It's not, but it's difficult to
No, it's
answer
not.
because,
Yeah, it is.
it's difficult to answer because when these buildings are being built, the equipment will be here. If they're moving forward and they've got all of this
I
built
understand.
and they're building here, then the equipment's gonna be
I
here.
understand that, right. And it's gonna be finished as you move around the development. What I'm hearing is you're not gonna move continuously from one to the other. You're going to move as they sell. And if they sell quickly, you're gonna move around fine. If they don't, then you could end up with 4 duplexes built, and then you don't build another one for 6 months. I mean, I don't know how it's gonna go.
Do you have-
And I don't wanna be looking at, front-end loaders and...
Can I, there's, I understand everybody's concern with regard to the site, but there has to be flexibility with regard to the contractor. He's not
Why
gonna
is that
take,
not flexible?
if you were developing a private piece of property and you wanted to put, you know, you wanted to take 6 years to complete your home, I guess under the, you can't because of the building permit rules, but nonetheless, we're not about to have a cleared, bombed out site where you have, you know, equipment sitting there unused for 6 months. I mean, talk about a waste of money, and it's very expensive to put a piece of equipment that doesn't get used because it's a daily charge. So that's not gonna happen. Is there gonna be a possibility that there'll be a week where one sits there and doesn't get used? I'm sorry, absolutely, but we can't, these are questions, you know, I could have a parade of horribles to describe that would be, you know, catastrophic. But I could also say that we could have a boom again, like in, you know, in the 90s, where people are building like this and building out. I can't answer the question, but if he wanted to go and look at any project that Mr. DiGiorgio has ever been involved in, he will find a neat site, he will find a completely in control site. They're beautifully managed. That's why it depends. It depends.
Well, sir, what would you like us to do?
No, I don't know,
To me,
I'm new to this,
that.
I don't
Right.
build developments all the time, I don't attend these meetings, so I don't know, is there?
The roads and the utilities, are the roads and the utilities going in first?
Yeah, well,
I
we've
presume
been talking about phasing as well.
We'll be
so-
phasing the roads, right?
Right, so we don't.
But in
But
terms
the-
of individual units, I don't know if we can dictate when.
But the water,
That's
all
will
based on
Yes.
sales.
there be a requirement of that water loop to be all complete or something like that?
If we
Not
do that, we have
necessarily,
to do
but
the.
some of the, I mean, some of it will have to be done.
The septic system has to be built,
The sewer.
the stormwater management area will have to be built, because once you put one set of catch basins online, you've gotta build the whole thing. So the stormwater management system will be in, the septic system will be in, and,
The roads will probably be all roughed in.
the roads will be rough,
And
but
then you'll gravel and binder the ones
I
as
mean-
you go along.
I guess what I'm asking is, there's some way you could request that they store equipment that's not used regularly, like, so
Yeah,
it's.
and as conditions of this approval, I think without putting any, tying Mr. DiGiorgio's hands at all, the board could put conditions in there that would require him to have a certain area for storage of equipment over a lengthy period of time, for capping a foundation, so you don't leave it open, so you get water, somebody falling into it. So, you know, put the deck on, you know, if you're gonna leave them over a certain number of time. Those are conditions I think the board could put on without putting undue hardship on the developer.
No, those are reasonable. I mean,
Those
the
are-
staging
We
area.
don't ever put foundations in the ground if we're not building the units.
Okay,
It's
so
not-
everyone's agreeable to
that's
what
not-
Larry just
It's
suggested.
not the way we,
That's,
yeah.
Clubhouse, what's the schedule on the clubhouse and the work on the golf course?
Well, the clubhouse really needs to be done in the off-season for obvious reasons.
Right.
So we don't want to start working on the clubhouse in April. Depending on the issue of permits, you know, I'd like to get the clubhouse done right away, but if, you know, if
You got
permits
some
take a while, then we'll have to wait.
Greens and tees that move around.
But that's the other thing too, on the 8th and 7th and 8th hole, you know, obviously we can't start, I mean,
But you wanna get that golf course.
we want to get
back
that
in
going.
operation.
Obviously, they're gonna have to be done first spring because we're missing the growing season now. So the 7th and 8th hole would be one of the first things that is reconstructed come the spring. You can get that, you know,
And is there any
transplanting.
landscaping that has to be done in regards to the golf course?
At the present time, no. There's, no, other than the
other than
clubhouse.
around those areas.
Yeah, other than around the 7th and 8th, well, the 7th and 8th hole, those are really the only biggest landscaping changes.
we're changing the entrance.
And the entrance to the golf course, but we're moving the entrance from the north side down.
Is there a layout in the golf course? Is there a
Well, there's
drawing
just
of
some holes that are changing to accommodate the new development, that's all.
it? There's no drawing or anything, layout on that?
No, there is a layout,
There is a
layout.
and it will be shown, because all
Oh, it's
the,
shown,
It's shown.
it's shown.
it's on the top.
Relocating the 7th green and
Eighth tee.
the 8th tee.
Yeah, the seventh par 3 is a very long, narrow par 3, so.
Really?
You-
I almost did Robin's house every time.
All right, so we're shortening that green to make it more or less of an iron shot. And then the 8th hole, which is a par 5, we're gonna turn that into a par 4, and we're shortening the distance on that as well.
Is 9 staying?
9 is, we're not touching 9.
So you're not going into the green at 9?
Nope.
Yeah, it shows down there.
Here's the green here.
Oh, it's right there, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you know the path that is right on the backside of 9? That path basically defines it, so
Oh,
that's not,
oh,
it's not being
all right.
touched.
You have the driving range, you mean?
Yes. Yeah, the driving range is taken up.
Well, here's, just for, so you can see where it is. This is the restaurant now,
Okay.
and the path that comes by the back of that, this is where you can sit outside. So the units will be actually set back a little bit from that area.
Is there any, should I say my name again?
No, I've got it.
She's good.
Okay, is there any landscaping around that water?
Yes.
Yes.
So we won't be looking at it from the road as we go by, this runoff pond or whatever you call it?
For the street planting,
You can come up and look at it if you like, but
Oh, I would.
the existing line of trees along the road will stay
Can
there.
you see from
Yeah.
the street? No, I-
And there'll be some new planting.
and this is all new in here.
Okay. Are you concerned at all about what Ron said about stagnation?
Oh, no.
I think Rich would be worried about stagnation at a certain point, and it may happen after the fact, but if you get enough drainage coming in there, there won't be stagnation. That's what you're saying.
I'm not concerned about it.
But nobody wants...
Typically what happens is, you get native vegetation that grows up along the edges of the pond, and if the water is down low enough, then you have vegetation that grows along the bottom, and oftentimes you don't even see it. You can't tell that it's a stormwater management area.
Okay.
Sir?
Dave Delmonico, 175 Dodge Road. You realize when you create an open water storage, that could end up being a wetland. Have you given any thought to an underground water compensation, compensatory storage? That'll take care of problems that are associated with safety. Won't have a wetland.
It does take away some problems, but it also creates some problems. It makes it much more difficult to maintain over time, and if there is some failure of the system, you can't see it. So there are pros and cons, and they have less volume than an underground system has less volume than the open system. We're trying to get as much volume as we can to meet the regulations.
And part of it is there's some beauty to it.
I think so. I mean, I know everyone, when you have a hearing, everyone complains about them, but I can point you to a bunch of stormwater management areas that ended up being very nice features and look nice when they're done.
Right. Robin?
Robin Pagliulo, 261 Dodge. I just want to get this answer maybe once and for all. I've asked, and I was given an answer. Then my husband asked, he was given a different answer for the same question. So we'll go back to that same question again. I have the developer in front of me, maybe I can get an answer. I guess the closest building that's going to be near me, how far is that from the property line? Not building to building, property line. Because we keep getting different answers to the same question.
Well, that's
the
not
building's
true.
Given the answer at the same time.
The only reason they're different answers
Because we've moved
is
buildings.
because we're moving the buildings.
Okay.
But I'll give you the answer that I gave you last time, which is, your house is 35 and this is 117.
117 from property line?
Yes,
So that ledge will not be touched?
that's
There'll
correct.
be no
It's at-
blasting
Well, there will be blasting. There will be
on
blasting.
top of my
but not
house, near
there.
my house?
No, not in that area.
Down, show her where, Richie?
There's a hunk of ledge right here that
That's
we
right, okay.
anticipate
So
blasting.
that tree line will not be touched?
This is the tree line. The tree line goes right up against this house here, okay? So there's one little spot where we pull in the tree line in, right here. and then the tree line comes way out here, there's a finger that comes out of
Right.
trees, that's gonna get cut straight off.
Now, where you're going in though, there isn't much tree, it's very sparse there.
That's correct.
So
Other than
it'll
that,
be
we're not
even more
planning,
sparse.
no, we're not changing it.
You said you have to cut into it.
Michael, how many feet is
Rich,
that?
could you, we can't see what
I'm
you're
sorry,
talking about.
that's
Oh, it's right,
right here, it's about 10 feet.
it's right here is what they're talking about.
Oh, for that little,
This little thing is
Right.
what they're speaking about right now.
do you need that little thing? That,
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, back to back out.
it's a long driveway.
yeah, okay.
But that has to be, which you, from that driveway
It's a-
to the lot line, how far is that?
Seems like it's bigger than it needs to be though.
I mean, but the point
It
is.
isn't, because you need to be able to pull a car in,
And back
get
out.
your car so that you can get it in a position to turn back out.
Yeah, so if you like.
So you figure the length of your car is,
Drawn two different ways, yes.
well, that's the old
Yeah,
thing.
right.
Okay, that's right.
But-
Sorry.
Okay, I was looking at this one.
Yeah, if you want to back in, you don't want to be backing in from the street,
No.
although that's what I do, but, you know,
Yeah, I
if you
mean,
pulled up there, then you can back in,
Isn't
or
there
if
a
you
gr-
drive in, then you want to
Isn't
back
there a
out.
grade change there, Richie? From the tree line
Yes.
down?
Yes, there is.
What's the?
There is. We're coming up with this unit, this unit's coming up, so we'll be matching grade at the driveway. So we're not,
And that tree line still, from the tree line to the property line is how deep there? The scale you at? $100 feet, 80 feet?
it's 100 feet,
Okay.
and 152 feet from the house.
well, Robin, you're concerned about the sparseness of the trees in that buffer zone?
Yes,
We could ask the landscape architect about the possibility of planting understory plantings there that would,
Fill that in.
cut it off at an eye level.
I think you gotta go look at it, because
Yeah, I don't
there's a
think
big
it's.
hill.
It
It's
isn't,
a
it
big hill.
isn't.
We're on the
a-
downside of the
16-foot
hill.
grade
We
elevation.
are
Well,
having
just
a
say we could
site-
ask the landscape architect what
we
he
are
thinks
going to
about
have
it.
a site tour anyway, aren't we?
Yes, we
We're gonna
will.
schedule that tonight, because I know a lot of people wanna do this, go on
That
that.
was the plan.
Right, that was the plan.
I was gonna
And
suggest.
could I just make one other note? When Windover was going through all of this, he had his engineer here, he had his landscape design here, he had everybody here. I don't understand why
Well,
it's
they're
different
gonna
this
have them
time.
here, so I don't think we need to.
That was discussed when you weren't here.
Oh, okay, I
Yeah,
apologize.
right.
I am the engineer.
Yeah, the engineer.
Not a very good one, Rich, but yeah. we need-
And for the record, their lawyer has always been
Landscaper
here,
and
so.
the
Rich can take the heat, right?
No, Rich always, he has a smile on his face.
Okay, I think we need to wrap this up. So we need to talk about the conservation restriction.
Do you want to tonight or?
I just want to make sure that you're aware of one thing, that under our bylaw, the golf course has to be owned by a separate entity. I don't know if I brought that up, but that is a requirement, so it can't be owned by the
Homeowner
by
Association.
Carriage Pines LLC. It can't be owned by the association, so, I mean, you're aware of that, and what is the plan to create that entity?
We'll just transfer it up
Yeah.
into a new entity.
And you're gonna try to send me the signed original of the Ipswich, I would like to see that.
Yeah, because you have, I know which one you have. It's called just Public Trails on top.
I can't remember, but
Yeah,
it didn't
it's
say
a-
anything about golf.
I know, and it was only like 22 acres. It was small, it was shockingly small.
Right,
This one, the one that I'll send you the link, I'll just email it to you.
right.
It has 229 acres, which is
Right.
most certainly the golf course. Mr. Graham, right? You have this huge parcel of land, and then you have like this area B, that was where that specific.
Lot A and
concept-
Lot B,
what you're
and B
talking
was
about?
was the residential core area.
Right, but
So-
Lot A was that area he's talking about with the separate, complete trail system that was already created. That was
Right.
totally separate from the conservation, permanent conservation easement granted.
Well, the fact that the state has approved that, and you're basing this
I don't know that it
on what-
approved the other one,
Well,
the small one, I don't know it did, I don't
I
remember.
think they did, no, I think.
The
they
small
did.
one was approved
I
too?
believe so.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I just.
But that gives me a lot of confidence in the fact that, this is actually a doable thing.
Oh,
You know,
this is, completely.
you can have a conservation area that's a golf course and that's protected in perpetuity and it's enforceable and all that.
And that's what that,
So-
and that's
So
what
I would like to
says,
see
yeah.
that, if you don't mind. And there's one issue I just picked up going through this quickly. And, well, first of all, I guess you've agreed to allow public access when the golf course is closed. And that's something we've been asked for, so we're pleased with that. But when is the golf course gonna be closed?
Well, see, it's not like a private club, gets its money from dues and initiation. They get it from greens fees. So public course can be open December, sometimes January. Sometimes they'll even open already in February. They open spontaneously.
But,
Well, normally,
Normally they're shut
around
in
here,
February.
they'll,
They're shut in February and January. Middleton is open December every year, unless there's a huge snowstorm, every year. And I called some
really
places.
weather driven.
I think I sent Katrina all of the places that I actually called,
Right.
because I couldn't figure it out.
I did notice in the Ipswich one, that it specifies that they'll be closed for
But-
a period of time. It actually gives the dates.
And that's because
A minimum period of time.
they're private, so they have the advantage of getting dues and initiation fees, so they have a captured audience, and they have a requirement of maintaining the greens, redoing everything, and they don't care if they're not open, because they don't get any extra money from people playing in December and January, they just don't care. That's why, but with a public golf course, you don't have any membership dues, so people, it's all greens fee driven, and that's why they stay open.
Oh, so if you get a string of nice weather in December,
They
you
open.
can make extra money that you. that a
100%, and that's
private
sometimes how
club
they
won't.
carry themselves, if they have a really rainy summer, spring, that's how they make it up.
Is the golf course gonna be for sale at some point?
No anticipation of that.
No anticipation.
I'm just concerned about the idea of public access when it's closed could be an illusory thing if the golf course is never closed.
But that's the problem with something like this, and because it wasn't like with Turner Hill, if I did actually go through and really look at the plans and look at the approval and then look at where all the trails were, and when they developed, and actually Katrina and I found two common research guides, because it was saying when you're trying to create the public trails, the best way in which to do so is to develop the golf course in concert with the other development, so that you can plan. What they do is they plan for exterior, really common in Florida and in North Carolina, they plan for exterior
What's the
trails.
tunnels?
They provide for tunnels, really common in like Aruba, all of those places, because they do it at the same time, and they can provide for safety. So, in Turner Hill, they allow people to use it, even when the golf course is open.
Right.
When I send you that link,
Well,
you'll
that's not
see.
practical here.
No, and it's also, we can't, and this is why I wanted Richie to bring this up, it's very difficult for us to even say, okay, you could provide trails in certain areas, because you can see that it's wet everywhere. So, you can't really allow access that's not within a path, because it's very easy then to damage the greens, which are very expensive, that little grass. So you want them to walk on paths. So what Ralph said is, listen, people want to come in, they want to run on the paths, they want to bike on the paths, the golf course is closed, let them come. And I did research after our hearing, because I want to actually bring this up, because I had thought something different that wasn't the case. The liability aspect with regard to having public. If you are offering to the general public, and it's under 17C, and see how in the top I wrote that?
Charging a fee.
If you do not charge a fee, then you cannot be held to an invitee status, and even for children, minors still. I don't know how it works with, babies, but who's gonna let a baby out on the golf course, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it basically exonerates liability for harm caused, even to the extent they're nuisances. It doesn't matter, unless you've done something really untoward, you're not liable for anything on the course, which is what Mr. DeGiorgio was most concerned about, and that's why he said, okay, look, if you tell me, Jill, I'm not going to be liable for somebody breaking their leg, then
Right.
I will allow it. That was our big holdup, honestly. And then after the hearing, I went back, because I had made that representation, did the research, found 17C, and then it was funny, because I emailed it to Katrina, I was like, I found this, so we're not arguing about it anymore, we just want to make sure there's no damage. And that's when we did this.
Okay, good, well, I'm glad we,
And I'll email it to you. Is it all right? I can email it to you and then you...
Yep,
What?
I've been
Directly
forwarding
the
all
Turner Hill one?
the information.
The full-blown...
yeah, sure.
conservation.
right.
I mean, I'll email you, well, you have...
Well, just send it to Katrina.
Katrina, okay.
Send it right.
Could I bring up a topic?
Sure.
That I'm not sure you've thought about the non-conforming status of all the smaller businesses within the golf course. We don't allow golf courses today, we don't allow those businesses, so they're all grandfathered. You just closed one, and you still haven't lost it, it takes 2 years to lose that.
Yep.
But now, I'm not sure, do you sell sandwiches in that clubhouse right now? And are you
Yeah,
trying to?
They have snacks in
They
there.
have snack
So
bar.
if you ever wanted to expand that, I just want you to think about that now, that it's grandfathered, non-conforming, would take a special permit to expand it in the future. Because the reason why I thought about that is, I thought maybe the planning board wants to limit future expansion. We don't know what's gonna happen, if the golf course didn't make money, they may want to expand their restaurants or their.
I don't think we want to see the restaurant there.
I was gonna say, I don't
Right,
think
and
it's,
so
that's not what we're envisioning.
Right.
It would have to be accessory solely to the golf course. We're not planning on putting a restaurant there, believe me.
I mean, I don't think we want a business that's going to generate a lot of additional traffic on top of what we've
You
got
won't
now.
have the parking.
Not
Right.
like that.
Yeah, I think
You won't have
It's
the-
not really in the
we-
spirit of the open space that
No, it
we're,
isn't.
so
It isn't.
Okay.
As
we
nice
would
as
like
that
to.
restaurant was, I mean,
Yeah, the restaurant's adorable and it was great,
Right.
but the repairs necessary unfortunately weren't reasonable for us. But with regard to the, if you will, the 19th hole, that's what we always call those little clubhouses, but here 10th hole. We would love to be able to serve a beverage to someone that's alcoholic. You know, a lot of men and women come off the golf course, they love to sit on the deck when the sun's,
you'd love to
you know.
serve to alcoholics, is that what you said?
Yeah. Recovering in old duels. I think Kieran has an alcohol-free beer now. It's really weird tasting.
No, after they play golf, they wanna be able to have a sandwich and a beer or something
Sure.
like that.
But we're not proposing to, we're not
Not
proposing to have
full-blown
Italian meals there. It's
Right.
just, hot dogs, hamburgers, literally the typical snack bar that they have now.
Okay.
Okay,
You want to set aside for sit?
yes, so we would like to go on site, and we hope that you allow the neighbors permission to go on site as well.
Yeah, we have to schedule, timing could be critical because
Absolutely.
the course is still open, so we want to.
But I think we're concentrating on that buffer area. I don't know if we need to walk around the golf course.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's reason to walk around the
Right.
golf course because it's not being impacted. So
Right.
The only thing we'll ask is everybody has to sign a waiver because there is the possibility of a golf ball. So everybody has to sign one, and there would be no
I get
children.
hit by a golf ball.
My garage doors get it every day, so
Do you?
don't worry about waiting.
I'll be the one to get hit, don't worry.
that won't happen once the project.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, can you stake out those two buildings, and so give us an
Of course,
idea?
you want to stake out the ones that with the,
The two of concern,
yep. So Richie,
This duplex you're talking about.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
and maybe like the road along the side of the road?
Here's the only problem, is
Yeah.
that,
The golf course is still active there.
Oh, it is?
in there are driving ranges,
Oh,
so
That, you can't stake out that unit, it's right in the middle of the green right now.
well,
I think there's,
But
a
it's
couple
easy
of
to see
places
that.
that we could get, like, there's a tree line here, I can get some stuff out here,
Can you s-
and maybe, get the end of this thing, the road with the hammerhead, and there's also a tree line here, so we can be able to walk through and I'll be able to take you through without staking the whole road.
okay,
That's good.
that's good.
But, it's going to be difficult, is the busiest time is Saturday and Sunday, so we're going to ask you not to schedule it on a Saturday
I was
or
just gonna
Sunday.
suggest Saturday morning.
That would be, you.
It's probably the busiest time.
That's the
Okay,
busiest
well,
time.
when would you like to do this?
An afternoon would be the best, I would think.
I mean, I realize that's difficult, it gets dark now at about, 7:15?
Right.
So
Oh, yeah.
any time
Earlier.
between, I know people work, and maybe between 5:30 and 6, at least it'll
okay
be
for
still
me.
be light, but we have to do it quickly,
How
because
about
it's,
4:30?
oh, no, yeah, that's fine with us.
Is that
The
good?
day is more important for me.
Right. So, do you wanna pick a day, or?
Not Thursday or Friday, because those are busy days still in the afternoon, people take it off still. So Monday, Tuesday.
Not Monday or Tuesday either.
Right
So how about Wednesday?
How about now?
Yeah, okay, so,
Monday,
Well, how about next Monday?
Monday, it's good.
that's the 24th, right?
I think I'm.
I have to
Well,
pause.
actually,
Can we make it the next day, so I
Yeah,
can get out there
because
on Monday and do some staking?
Next Tuesday?
Tuesday sounds good.
Tuesday, okay, the 20,
Just-
he just,
25th? At what time?
4:30.
4:30.
Okay, that's good.
Now, Can I ask Robin, were you going to try and get that message out to the other
I can.
neighbors?
Where should we meet, in the parking lot, or,
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, parking lot.
okay,
so we wanna keep everybody together.
right.
Makes a bigger target.
You can come down my
And
driveway.
you will come with the waivers for
Okay.
everyone to
I will
sign?
have the waivers for
Okay.
people to sign, yep,
Do you
absolutely.
want this posted as a meeting?
What's that?
Do you want this posted as a meeting?
No,
Yeah.
I don't think you have to.
No, you don't
So
want
no
to.
deliberations
You
will
picked
take
a rainy
place.
day.
Right.
And then.
Yes, sir.
One question that I'd like to ask, when they blast, before they blast, could they take a picture of Robin's house and mine? My son went through that, had to replace the chimney, took 3 years before it was set. And I
Typically, anything within 250 feet of a blast zone, we do a survey. A survey, okay, a pre-blast survey, which will either come in and video the house, or take pictures inside the house, one or two. If it's outside of 250, it's not required by law. I think it's 250 feet, don't quote me on that, but somewhere
Okay,
around.
unless someone has another question or something.
Just one more, and it's about the bond I brought up a couple of meetings ago.
Right.
Just a bond in case something happens and it does get completed, the town has the money to repair them and get the facades and the landscaping done.
Well, do you have
Yeah, I mean, the
something to say?
facades, we don't bond for building, but when he talks about landscaping too, what does he mean?
I mean, just so it doesn't look like a half-finished site, maybe
Right.
to finish the outside, the siding, the windows, the roofs.
Well, we asked for a money bond for landscaping and things like that, if they want to sell the units before all that stuff is put in. And we have done that with them.
So you don't have, the town does, if this starts and gets halfway done and something catastrophic happens and we stuck with the development that's half done for a number of years, we have no way to
No, we
finish
will.
that?
We will have a way, well, no, I don't know about finishing the development, but finishing the landscaping and things like that. If they want units released before everything's done, then they have to post a bond, and this is right in our zoning bylaw. They have to post a bond to pay for finishing the landscaping and things like that. And we have done
If
this.
they want to release it and sell it and turn it over before the landscaping's finished, is that what you mean?
Right.
Well, wait a second, before we sell it, can we just explain a little bit better, because I don't know, I'm confused. I know what you're saying, I'm not sure I know what he means. He just said before we sell it,
No,
and we complete the landscape.
what my concern is that we get X amount done, 10%, 20%, 30%, half done with this project, and something happens, and you can no longer finish the project. For whatever reason that is, bankruptcy, the economy goes in the tank, whatever the case may be. I know that when I do some work, I'm asked for a bond from time to time on certain projects, that if I can't finish it, the bonding company will pay someone else to finish that for me.
Yeah, you see, I thought that's what he meant. He's talking about a surety bond for when you're a contractor, you go into a project and you're working for a private third party. That private third party requests a bond for completion purposes because they don't have complete faith that you actually have the wherewithal to complete the project, and you back out.
Not necessarily faith, but you never know, life happens sometimes, and.
Yeah, those are nowadays, and that used to be, I do unfortunately a lot of that work, and it's hard to get them now, because you used to get them through Zurich and stuff. But what you're speaking about is a different type of bond, a bond that you get through a bank where I pledge a line of credit. So I have a line of credit for $500,000 to finish the infrastructure, and out of that, I pledge to the town, we enter into an agreement where I say to you, if I don't finish the roadway, which is gonna cost $500,000.
Or the landscaping.
Right, yeah, but the exterior
Right.
infrastructure, if you will, because it includes stormwater too.
Right.
So if I were to fail to complete, then you as the town have the right to go in and demand the money and complete
Right.
it
Well,
if
you
I
can
don't
al-
finish by a date
You
certain.
can also give us cash too, just money, other developers.
Tripartite agreement.
Yeah,
Right.
tripartite agreement with the
Right,
banks.
yeah, there are different ways to do it, but we do, that's in our zoning bylaw.
Right.
That's the way we try to control things.
I understand.
It doesn't count.
Prevent developers from skipping town before they finish the development, but it does happen. It happened recently in this town, but fortunately we had money in the bank that we used
So that's
to-
gonna be the case in this?
Yes, that we used to finish the landscaping.
And generally, that might start at $500,000 and it gets
Right.
reduced as the project is
Right.
done. There's no longer a need to keep the money to build the road is done. But there is generally always a need to keep a certain amount of money to finish the landscaping, maybe the sidewalks or something, you know, some of the extra stuff at the end. And that's usually always there at the end.
Yeah, that.
Right, so we will address that.
Can I
Okay,
have one last question?
Yes,
Who
yes.
owns the property?
I think the question was asked before, who owns the property?
What is that?
Windover.
Windover still. Windover's gonna be selling to the residents of Carriage Pines, which is gonna be conveying at some point to this new entity that will run the golf course.
We need to have them separate too.
Right. I assume that
You take
that would happen
over.
after the conservation restriction is approved.
We would do it, yeah, we have to do it in pieces, so we'll buy everything once and then we'll transfer it
After
out.
we give approvals and all that
Right.
stuff.
Exactly,
Right.
yeah, we have to have
It's gonna be a lot.
everything.
I mean, I guess that would be a condition of our approval, that you actually
Oh, yeah,
convey that to a separate entity.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think the only thing we need to do is continue, pick a date for, so where do we go from here?
Arnett?
I am in the process of, because this was a complete redesign as far as the roadways and grading and profiles and stormwater management and drainage study, I'm in the midst of completing that enough so that your consultant, Mr. Graham, can review it. And I assume that by the end of the week, we'll have plans and studies to submit to your board and to Mr. Graham
Okay.
for review from a technical standpoint.
Right.
And then what we will do is we'll bring Tom Minor, the landscape architect from Hawk, and then we'll also bring Peter for this next meeting.
Peter's the architect?
I apologize, Peter Sanders, right? He had come like maybe 2 meetings ago,
Right.
and he had had some contact with David. We'll
Right.
bring them both.
Okay, so I guess the question is, Larry, how much time do you need to review the plan?
Well, as Rich said, it's pretty much a whole new one, but we've accomplished a lot of ground, so I'd say a couple of weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So maybe.
And we did try and, I think the planning board decided to try and meet once a month, except for special meetings.
right, we did say that.
And so we've already set a date of October 24th for the spring public hearing at 7:30.
The only reason I'm hesitating is I may have to miss that meeting.
In that case, that's
So-
a good reason for a special
I
meeting.
can just barely make it by 7:30. I have design review board. and
Well, how about the 17th? Because I have a conflict on the 24th, the way it stands.
17th is okay.
Does that work for everyone?
When am I gonna see the plans, Rich? End of next week?
You smile.
I'm hoping, I'm smiling because it's my birthday on the 17th and
Oh.
every year I have a meeting, so this
We're gonna
will
bring
not
it.
be different.
I'll bring
Um,
a cupcake for you.
18th.
Larry, I'm assuming the end of this week.
Okay.
Well, that's what we're pushing for, the end of this week. If it's not, it'll be the very beginning of next week.
Is
Well,
that
I think
okay?
the 17th, I might not have time to get everything back to you and us to go over it, but I could have my report done, we could go over the high points.
Do you want to do the 31st of October?
Yeah.
No, because, I mean, you're already gonna talk to Hawk and to the architect, so you've got that, and that would probably leave enough time just to go through that report and highlight any big things.
Ralph wants to keep moving.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'd love to be able to do it on the 17th,
Okay,
and be able to
okay,
get
I would
people
say
in.
All right.
Keep it going.
Okay, I think that
I
about
think the
covers.
trick-or-treaters in the audience don't want to risk the
Oh, yeah, I didn't
lack
think of that.
of sugar.
What time did we set?
7:30?
7:30, will someone make a motion to continue the public hearing until October 17 at 7:30?
I second that.
I'll move it.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Is it okay if we talk about is it okay for me to send the restrictive covenant to, the conservation restriction to town council? Or did you want to review it first?
Well, I'd like to see the actual one. that Jill's gonna send me. But why don't you send, can you send it to Brett?
I already did.
Oh, good. I mean, because he should have some.
I told them unofficially, but I'll ask the board if they want me to officially send it to you for comment.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, because I did make the Conservation Commission responsible, I just assumed that's what you.
Oh, yeah, right.
Do you have a copy of the landscape plan?
I
coming?
I do, I emailed it to everyone.
You know what I'll do is,
black and
do you want me to, I'm gonna have, Tom Minor make those couple of changes, and then I'll send hard copies, so that you can distribute, so you can distribute Katrina, so it'll be easier. And I'll send you the email copy, send you PDF so that you have the electronics all the time.
Yeah.
But I'll do the,
What?
I'll do the hard copies.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I mean,
It's-
bring
that's
it to
the way
the
it's
meeting.
No,
drafted.
I'll send it to you, it sounds like they, doesn't
Yeah,
sound like maybe that
two
worked.
members like the hard
No,
copy.
that's, I mean, they already conditions.
I'll give you-
Yeah, I don't have I have a color printer, but
It's
I
25
do.
pages.
But that's, I'll just send,
Oh,
you want the
hundred
words, so I'll
and
just
some
send you
odd
words,
items.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe they won't hold it.
Don't send too many,
How
right?
many would you?
Just
Were they gonna hold it? No,
maximum.
the window.
You know, I try not to do it too weekly.
Are these
Well,
the
kinda like-
renderings you're talking about?
just saying,
Because at some
yeah.
point, the
Well,
board
the
is gonna
renderings
want
are
me to
simple.
send all the revisions around to the departments again for feedback. And so, when it's time for that, we'll need more
You
plans.
tell me how many you need.
Are we talking about the plans?
Finally,
It
yeah.
sounds like the
I'm doing
plan,
the landscape plans.
no landscape, but when the final revisions are done.
Right, you want a full plan set to distribute to all.
Right, so that'll be after.
So it's the police department,
Oh,
the
yeah,
fire
yeah.
department.
Because we won't, we won't have comments back from Larry, so it'll be crazy, but I just wanted to be able to get to them, the landscape plans that have those couple of tweaks.
Yeah. Are you also filing with conservation?
No, we don't have any relief to seek, no. Yeah, we're completely outside of any
They
buffer.
hold one at the,
I get trucks, we know, it is. That's, it is.
How about stormwater?
Then it doesn't qualify for it, doesn't require it. Yeah.
yeah.
Lucked out.
But so I'll send you those and I'll send you the hard
Okay.
copy. Or we can even talk via email and you can tell me what you want and I'll send you
Okay.
whatever you want.
All
And
right.
I'll get that
And
recorded.
by the way, I love plans.
I do too, I have it too. David likes them too, but he's a.
I don't
No,
I don't have a vote
I
here,
do
though.
like them, I have my concerns about,
We don't need to get in that again.
Does anybody need a copy of this that they didn't want to print out? Because I printed, but
No,
no
as long as
sense in
she has
wasting the
one.
paper.
Yeah, I printed a bunch out too, but they took what they wanted.
I did, I don't know where to put it.
The only other business I think we have is minutes, right?
I would skip minutes.
Okay.
Why?
Fred isn't here.
Take care.
Have you read them?
Good night.
Part of them.
We can approve.
Yeah.
Have you read them?
Yeah, I
Okay.
If your minutes
I-
taker takes the time to choose from.
We,
Well,
it's,
I think it's polite to let
it's,
everybody who's
we should
there.
be disciplined at every week, every meeting, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have an extra.
Oh,
You
yeah.
start getting late on everything.
Yeah, because
Um,
this is what we hated before.
Right.
So we need
All right, so I have no comments, I'm ready to vote on.
I have
Anyone
no
else?
comments.
Okay, someone make a motion to approve the minutes
make a
of
motion we
September
approve the
5th,
minutes.
2012.
Okay, David's making the motion, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks.
I try to protect you, Kurt, but
Anything else we need to do, Katrina?
Yeah. I just wanted to tell you, I know you took the vote to authorize just one person to sign expenses, and it's not allowed, unfortunately. We can have one person just sign payroll, but, so I'm going to need you to sign Larry's.
But not expensive?
Right.
Oh.
So Larry just sent his bill, and you can
Oh,
all
that's not
sign that.
Second ways. I'm gonna table that until next year.
I'll leave it the 17th.
Yeah, you know, Larry, it was due on Tuesday, and I got it on Wednesday, your bill. If it had been a day sooner,
it's not like my tax.
you would have been paid in 2 weeks, now it'll be a month.
Where do we sign?
But you probably appreciate you only get one a month, right?
Yes.
We've been running.
How many places do I have to sign?
Payroll is once a month.
You know what, if Cliff could sign just all the actual bills themselves, one person needs to sign those, and I'm not sure if he's
But I'm not
gonna-
the authorized person.
No, but you're
David
taking
is.
the chairman's place, and the chairman usually signs the bills,
I
and
guess he
then
is.
everyone signs that. You know what, I'll
Am I
probably end up
supposed
getting
to sign
Kurt's
over
signature.
here?
That won't be submitted for another 2 weeks, so I can get Kurt to sign it.
No, I don't mind signing.
That's right, I signed because I'm close.
Because you're close to it?
No, I'm close to the office. I'm the closest person.
Oh, right.
But what am I supposed to sign? Oh, is it here? No.
Yeah, right where everyone else signed, and then just initial anywhere on those pages.
Oh, just initial?
Yeah, just,
What's the
isn't
date?
that what the planning board usually did?
Well, no.
That's what the ZBA always did.
No.
No, we only just signed
Yeah,
this,
What's the date today?
19.
19, 9, and then 19.
Now, I didn't know how open you were to bringing up other, updates, such as, I didn't know if you had an update for them on Sheehan Estates.
I just sent Joe Bellich he did call me,
Yeah, that's
and
exciting.
he wanted the checklist. and
He's
I
still
sent-
alive, though, huh?
Yeah, I sent that to him. I sent it to him and, no response, but he'd only left the office a week ago, or it's the end of last week, I think.
So that's the news.
Sorry.
Thank you, Stan.
I suggested in my letter that he get his previous engineer to do the street acceptance plan and the as-built plan. The water department's bill is out there, it's about $6,700 or something for what they want to fix the water out there.
Mhm.
And there's 22,000 in the bank. It's all gonna be used up with basically those three items.
Mhm.
And whatever is left, if we can put a tree in to replace the 3 or 4 dead trees out there.
Mhm.
There's some dead street trees.
Okay.
There's very little that needs to be done in the development itself. Scott Lovett is a great.
Well, that's good.
Where is she in the States?
Off of April Street.
Gersak.
Kurzak Lane
Yeah.
and Sheena Estates, same thing. Across from
Little
Cedar
cul-
Lane,
Little cul-de-sac.
across from
Yeah.
Cedar Lane.
Thank you.
Nice little cul-de-sac. No, I'm thinking about, well,
And
anyway.
that's all I have.
Okay, I think,
And Cedar Lane backs up to the Melissa's, if you don't
Yeah,
remember
I
that.
do know that.
Yeah.
okay, I think I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, everyone.